The sun in Lagos is very hot. It can cook yam on the road. For a small boy named Tunde, this sun was his only blanket many times. He had no mother, he had no father. The busy streets of Lagos were his home. He would see other children going to school in their fine uniforms. They would be laughing and holding their school bags. Tunde would just watch them from a corner. His own clothes were torn and dirty. He was always hungry. The smell of hot puff-puff from the roadside cellar would make his stomach cry out loud. He learned to be invisible, to move like a shadow so people would not chase him away. Every day was the same kind of struggle. Tunde would wake up when the morning market traders started shouting. He would look for small work to do for anybody. Maybe he could help a woman carry her heavy basket. Maybe he could fetch water for a food seller. Sometimes, he would get a small piece of bread. Other times, he would get nothing at all. The nights were the hardest part. The world would become dark and quiet, but the fear was very loud in his heart. He would find a small corner, under a bridge or near a closed shop, and curl up like a small ball. He would pray to God to keep him safe until the morning sun came again. Tunde was a very clever boy, even though he never went to school. He learned how to read the faces of people. He knew the kind ones, the ones who might give him a small coin without shouting. He also knew the angry ones, the ones to run away from very fast. He would watch the big yellow buses, the Danfos, as they rushed past, full of people going somewhere. Everyone seemed to have a place to go, a home to return to. Tunde's only destination was tomorrow. He just wanted to see another day. He dreamed of a day when he would not be hungry, a day when someone would call his name with kindness. One afternoon, the rain started to fall. It was not gentle rain. It was the angry type that beat the ground hard. Tunde ran to find shelter under the small roof of a tailor shop. He was shivering from the cold, and the water was dripping from his hair. He closed his eyes and wished the rain would wash away all his sadness. He was so tired of being alone and scared. He did not know that somebody was watching him. A man with a kind face was standing nearby, holding a big black umbrella. The man saw the small boy, all alone in the rain, and his heart was touched with pity. This was the day that Tunde's life was about to change. The kind man's name was Mr. Adebayo. He walked slowly to Tunde. He did not shout. He spoke with a soft voice. "Hello, my boy. What are you doing here in the rain?" he asked. Tunde was scared at first. He thought the man would chase him away. But Mr. Adebayo's eyes were full of kindness. Tunde told him he had nowhere to go. Mr. Adebayo's heart broke into small pieces. He said, "Come with me. You will not sleep in the rain tonight. My house is warm." He gave Tunde his hand. For the first time in a very long time, Tunde felt the warmth of another person's hand holding his own. It felt like safety. It felt like hope. Mr. Adebayo lived in a small, clean house. It was not a big mansion, but to Tunde it looked like a palace. There was a soft chair to sit on. There was a roof that did not leak. Mr. Adebayo gave him a towel to dry himself and a set of his own son's old clothes. The clothes were big, but they were warm and dry. Then Mr. Adebayo went to the kitchen and brought a plate of hot rice and stew. Tunde ate like he had never seen food before. He was so happy that tears started to run down his cheeks. He was not crying because of sadness. He was crying because a stranger was being so good to him. But every sweet thing can have a bitter part. When Mr. Adebayo's wife, Mama Shade, came home, her face was not smiling. She saw Tunde and her eyes became very sharp and cold. "Who is this dirty street boy in my house?" she asked her husband. Her voice was loud and angry. Mr. Adebayo tried to explain, to tell her about the boy in the rain, but Mama Shade did not want to hear it. She looked at Tunde as if he was a cockroach that had crawled into her clean house. She did not see a child who needed help. She only saw a problem, a mouth to feed that was not her own. From that day, Tunde's life became a mix of two different worlds. There was the world of Mr. Adebayo, which was full of kindness and gentle words. Then there was the world of Mama Shade, which was full of hard work and unkindness. She would shout at him for small things. She would make him wash all the plates and scrub the floors until his small hands were sore. She gave him food, but it was always the smallest portion after everyone else had eaten. Tunde learned to stay quiet and do everything she asked. He did not want to cause any trouble for Mr. Adebayo, the man who had saved him from the street. Tunde's spirit was strong, like the Iroko tree that does not fall in a storm. Even with Mama Shade's harsh words, he refused to let his heart become bitter. He remembered his days on the street, the hunger and the cold. He knew that having a roof over his head was a big blessing, even if it came with hardship. So, he would wake up very early every morning before the sun and start his chores. He would sweep the compound carefully. He would fetch the water from the well without spilling a drop. He tried his best to be a good boy, hoping that one day Mama Shade's heart would become soft. He held on to that small hope like a precious stone. Mr. Adebayo saw everything. He saw how his wife treated Tunde, and it pained him deeply. He could not fight with his wife every day, but he found quiet ways to show Tunde that he cared. When Mama Shade was not looking, he would slip Tunde an extra piece of meat from his own plate. He would sit with Tunde in the evenings and tell him stories of the tortoise and the wise old lion. He bought Tunde a small notebook and a pencil. In the quiet afternoons, he would teach Tunde how to write his name, Tunde. Seeing his name written on paper made Tunde feel like he was a real person, someone who mattered in the world. These small moments of kindness were like lamps in Tunde's dark world. They gave him the strength to continue. He learned the letters A, B, C. He learned to count numbers. His mind was very sharp, like a new razor blade. He loved learning. It was a special secret he shared with Mr. Adebayo. Sometimes, when Mama Shade shouted at him, Tunde would close his eyes and think about the new words he had learned. It was his own way of escaping into a better place, a place where knowledge was more powerful than angry words. He promised himself that he would study hard and make Mr. Adebayo proud one day. One evening, Mama Shade was very angry because a plate broke while Tunde was washing it. She shouted and said many hurtful things. She said he was a useless boy who brought only bad luck. Tunde's eyes filled with tears, but he did not make a sound. Later that night, Mr. Adebayo came to the small mat where Tunde slept. He sat down beside him and said, "Tunde, do not let her words enter your heart. You are a good boy. You are a smart boy. Your future will be bright, I promise you." These words were like medicine for Tunde's soul. He knew that as long as he had one person who believed in him, he could face anything. Time passed, and Tunde continued to grow, not just in size, but in knowledge and spirit. Mr. Adebayo saw the boy's great intelligence and his desire to learn more than he could teach him at home. He started saving a small amount of money every month from his salary as a clerk. It was not easy, and it meant he had to sacrifice some things, but he was determined. He dreamed of sending Tunde to a proper school, where the boy could shine like the star he was meant to be. He knew that education was the only key that could open the door to a better life for the boy, a life far away from the memory of the streets. One day, Mr. Adebayo came home with a big smile on his face. He called Tunde and showed him a brand new school uniform and a new school bag. He said, "Tunde, my son, starting from next week, you will go to school." Tunde could not believe his ears. He touched the clean, crisp uniform. He opened the bag and saw new books and pencils inside. Joy exploded in his heart like a firework in the night sky. He jumped up and hugged Mr. Adebayo tightly, tears of happiness streaming down his face. This was more than he had ever dreamed of. It was a real chance, a real beginning. Even Mama Shade was silent when she saw the uniform. Perhaps she saw the determination in her husband's eyes. Or perhaps, deep inside her hard heart, a small part of her knew this was the right thing to do. She did not complain. The next Monday, Tunde wore his new uniform with pride. He looked so different, so handsome and full of promise. As he walked to school with Mr. Adebayo, he felt like he was walking on clouds. He promised to work harder than any other student. He would not waste this incredible gift. He was no longer just Tunde the orphan boy. He was Tunde the student. Tunde's journey was still long. There would be more challenges and more struggles. But now, he was not walking alone. He had the love and support of a good man who became his father in every way that mattered. Mr. Adebayo's kindness was like a seed planted in dry ground, and it was now growing into a strong tree of hope. Tunde's story shows us that even in a world with much darkness, one good person can light a candle. And that small light can be enough to show a child the path to a brand new, beautiful morning, full of possibilities and a future that is bright